Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 136. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year in a non-leap year, this is for May 16th, or in a leap year for May 15th. The Old Testament reading is from Ruth chapters 1 and 2. Ruth chapter 1. And it happened in the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. And a man from Bethlehem of Judah went to reside in the countryside of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi. And the name of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah, and they went to the countryside of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left behind with her 2 sons. And they took for themselves Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other was Ruth. And they lived there about 10 years. But both Mahlon and Chilion died, and the woman was left without her 2 sons and without her husband. And she got up, she and her daughters-in-law, and returned from the countryside of Moab, because she had heard in the countryside of Moab that Yahweh had come to the aid of his people to give food to them. So she set out from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, each of you return to your mother's house. May Yahweh show kindness to you just as you did with the dead and with me. May Yahweh grant that you find a resting place, each in the house of her husband. And she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and cried. And they said to her, No, we want to return with you to your people. And Naomi said, Return, my daughters. Why do you still want to go with me? Are there sons in my womb that may be husbands for you? Turn back, my daughters. Go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should think there is hope for me, even if I should have a husband this night, and even if I should bear sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is far more bitter to me than to you, for the hand of Yahweh has gone out against me. And they lifted up their voices and cried again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth clung to her. And she said, Look, your sister-in-law has returned to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law too. But Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. So may Yahweh do to me, and even more, unless death separates you and me. When Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. So the 2 of them went until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, all of the town was stirred because of them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said to them, You should not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for Shaddai has caused me to be very bitter. I went away full, but Yahweh brought me back empty-handed. Why call me Naomi when Yahweh has testified against me, and Shaddai has brought calamity upon me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, returning from the countryside of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the harvest of barley. Ruth chapter 2. Now Naomi had a relative of her husband, a prominent rich man from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Please let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain after someone in whose eyes I may find favor." And she said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she went and came and gleaned in the field behind the reapers. And she happened by chance upon the tract of field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. And look, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said to the reapers, "May Yahweh be with you." And they said to him, "May Yahweh bless you." And Boaz said to his servant in charge of the reapers, "To whom does this young woman belong?" And the servant in charge of the reapers said, "She is a Moabite girl returning with Naomi from the countryside of Moab." And she said, "Please let me glean, and let me gather among the sheaves behind the reapers." So she came and remained from the morning up to now. She is sitting for a little while in the house. And Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen carefully, my daughter. Go no longer to glean in another field. Moreover, do not leave from this one, but stay close with my young women. Keep your eyes on the field that they reap and go after them. Have I not ordered the servants not to bother you? And if you get thirsty, you shall go to the containers and drink from where the servants have drawn." And she fell on her face and bowed down to the ground and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes by recognizing me? For I am a foreigner." And Boaz answered and said to her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband was fully told to me, how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth, and you went to a people that you did not know before. May Yahweh reward your work, and may a full reward be given to you from Yahweh, the God of Israel, under whose wings you came to take refuge." And she said, "May I find favor in your eyes, my lord, for you have comforted me and have spoken kindly to your servant, and I am not one of your servants." And Boaz said to her at mealtime, "Come here and eat from the bread, and dip your morsel in the wine vinegar." So she sat beside the gleaners, and he offered to her roasted grain, and she ate and was satisfied, and she had some left over. And she got up to glean, and Boaz instructed his servants, saying, "Let her also glean between the sheaves, and do not reproach her. And also pull out for her from your bundles, and leave it so that she may glean, and do not rebuke her." So she gleaned in the field until the evening, and she beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she picked it up and went to the town. Her mother-in-law saw how much she had gleaned, and she took it out and gave to her what she had left over after being satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, "Where did you glean today, and where did you work? May he who took notice of you be blessed." And she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked, and said, "The name of the man who I worked with today is Boaz." And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "May he be blessed by Yahweh, whose loyal love has not forsaken the living or the dead." And Naomi said to her, "The man is a close relative for us. He is one of our redeemers." And Ruth the Moabite said, "Also he said to me, 'You shall stay close with the servants which are mine until they have finished all of the harvest which is mine.' And Naomi said to Ruth her daughter-in-law, 'It is good, my daughter, that you go out with his maidservants, so that you will not be bothered in another field.' So she stayed close with the maidservants of Boaz to glean until the end of the barley harvest and the wheat harvest, and she lived with her mother-in-law." The New Testament reading is from John chapter 9, verse 1 through 34. John 9:1. And as he went away, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? Jesus replied, Neither this man sinned nor his parents, but it happened so that the works of God could be revealed in him. It is necessary for us to do the deeds of the one who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had said these things, he spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva, and smeared the clay on his eyes. And he said to him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is translated sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Then the neighbors and those who saw him previously, because he was a beggar, began to say, Is this man not the one who used to sit and beg? Others were saying, It is this man. Others were saying, No, but he is like him. That one was saying, I am he. So they began to say to him, How were your eyes opened? He replied, The man who is called Jesus made clay and smeared it on my eyes and said to me, Go to Siloam and wash. So I went and I washed, and I received sight. And they said to him, Where is that man? He said, I do not know. They brought him, the one formerly blind, to the Pharisees. Now the day on which Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes was the Sabbath. So the Pharisees also were asking him again how he received sight. And he said to them, He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see. So some of the Pharisees were saying, This man is not from God, because he does not observe the Sabbath. Others were saying, How can a man who is a sinner perform such signs? And there was a division among them. So they said to the blind man again, What do you say about him, because he opened your eyes? And he said, He is a prophet. So the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received sight, until they summoned the parents of the one who received sight. And they asked them, saying, Is this man your son, whom you say was born blind? Then how does he now see? So his parents answered and said, We know that this man is our son, and that he was born blind. But how he now sees we do not know, or who opened his eyes we do not know. Ask him. He is a mature adult. He will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already decided that if anyone should confess him to be Christ, he would be expelled from the synagogue. Because of this, his parents said, He is a mature adult. Ask him. So they summoned the man who had been blind for the second time, and said to him, Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner. Then that man replied, Whether he is a sinner I do not know. One thing I know, that although I was blind, now I see. So they said to him, What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? He replied to them, I told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? You do not want to become his disciple also, do you? They reviled him and said, You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but we do not know where this man is from. The man answered and said to them, For the remarkable thing is this, that you do not know where he is from, and he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but if someone is devout and does his will, he listens to this one. From time immemorial it has not been heard that someone opened the eyes of one born blind. If this man were not from God, he would not be able to do anything. They answered and said to him, You were born completely in sin, and are you attempting to teach us?" And they threw him out. The wisdom literature reading is from Proverbs chapter 12, from verse 8 to verse 17. Proverbs 12, verse 8. For his mouth of good sense a man will be recommended, but he who is of perverse mind will be despised. It is better to be lowly and a servant to someone than self-glorifying and lacking food. The righteous knows the life of his animal, but the compassion of the wicked is cruel. He who works his land will have plenty of food, but he who follows worthless things lacks sense. The wicked covet the proceeds of evil, but the root of the righteous bears fruit. By the transgression of lips evil is ensnared, but the righteous escapes from trouble. From the fruit of the mouth of a man he is filled with good, and the reward of a man's labor will return to him. The way of a fool is upright in his own eyes, but he who listens to advice is wise. As for a fool, on that very day he makes his anger known, but he who ignores an insult is prudent. He who will speak truth will reveal righteousness, but the witness of falsehood, deceit. This concludes the reading for day 136. Thank you for listening. These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the Global Outreach Ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.